everyone, this is Piyu over at Toilet Tarot. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to discuss the daily practice demon, and I will explain why I call it a demon. Now, if you have a daily practice and it's fulfilling and it's amazing, please move on, you are brilliant. But for those of us who are unable to have a daily practice, maybe this might give a little perspective, help you out a little, and remove the mental pressure of not having a daily practice and what that means and how that reflects on us. So, to begin with, I would like to discuss what a daily practice is. It could be a card of the day, it could be a reading every day that you pull, it could be an oracle, it could be multiple oracles or tarot. It is just, from what I understood so far, which is this is going horribly because it's non-scripted, is that a daily practice is when you engage with your cards every single day. So for the longest time, I wanted a daily practice desperately. Like, I wanted tarot in my life. I wanted it to be a part of my life, and from what I was watching, reading, the content I was consuming, to me, it felt that that meant having a daily practice, having a weekly practice, having a monthly practice, doing a year ahead reading, doing a month ahead reading, doing a week ahead reading. And the list is endless. I do none of these anymore. I barely do predictive readings. I definitely don't do it for other people. And I very rarely do it for myself. What I do instead is a practice that came together very organically for me, and I don't have a name for it, but it's my intermittent practice, I guess, because I do it intermittently. There is no defined timeline. The way I define how I do the reading is actually based on the cards and the messages I get, and for how long I need to sort of percolate on that message and how much time and processing it takes. Sometimes it's 2 days, sometimes it's a week and a half, and it varies. And the decks I use varies. I follow the wheel of the year because, sidebar, couple of years ago I was really struggling with the passage of time. Like, I would go to work and I would come back and the year would get over, and I would look back at the year and wonder what I have achieved, and I couldn't find anything that fulfilled my soul. And so that was one of the reasons I went to tarot. And one of the first things I did was started tracking the seasons through the wheel of the year so that I could mark the passage of time. And I can discuss this in detail in another video. If you're interested, please definitely drop it down in the comments below. But it gave me a sense of passage of time and a passage of my life, and the fact that I was present and experiencing it and a part of it, instead of watching from behind my eyes as my life passed by in front of me. Every time I did daily practice, the messages would start aligning. Initially I was like, I'm going to put 4 cards with no aesthetic relationship down on the table, and it's just gonna be what it is. I'm gonna have 4 separate messages, and that's all it's gonna be. But over time I realized that that's not actually what was happening, and it became really interesting and also really gave me goosebumps that different decks, different authors, different purposes, completely different purposes, would just align into this beautiful message for the day, which then I would leave on my altar for as many days as I wanted to. What I do is I pull out a bunch of oracle decks, and there's always a which season we're in oracle. There's a complementing oracle. There's usually an affirmation deck. Recently, there's a dictionary definition decks. So first, let me show you all the decks, and then I'll explain how the reading goes. So obviously, for the Wheel of the Year, I used the Seasons of the Witch deck. The reason I said obviously is because I started tarot, this was mass market, it was easily available, it is beautiful. It is by Lorraine Anderson and Juliet Diaz. I have all 8 of them. It is my primary way to track the year. So this is one of the first things that I would pull a card from. The second would be a goddess. Now I am very new to deity work, which is why I'm not going to go on about it in detail. But to me, I was experiencing a lot of repressed anger that I wanted to process. And the only goddess, and I needed it to be a woman, that I knew who was permitted rage in my culture was the goddess Kali. And so I bought this oracle. This is the Kali Oracle by Alana Fairchild. This happens to be the pocket edition. I have the full-size edition as well because the guidebook is amazing, but I work with that a card at a time, and this I use more for my non-daily practice. I should come up with a name for it. I will eventually. The last deck I used, no, the second last deck I use is Diviner Definitions by Michael Anthony. This is an independent deck. It has 111 cards. They basically look like this. They have a title on top and various definitions throughout. And my final deck is always an affirmation deck. Now, I am not an affirmation deck person at all because I feel somebody telling me a statement, even if it is a positive one, it doesn't sit with me. Like, affirmations don't work for me. If I get a card that says, keep your heart open today, my rebellious nature is usually going to be like, no thank you. But the Align Heart Affirmations by Kimberly M. San is an exception to the rule. It is a beautiful, gentle deck. It has different categories of affirmations. Some are your more generic type of affirmations, but some are action oriented, some are feeling oriented, and together it makes for a really wholesome and well balanced deck, in my opinion. So let me show you how the practice goes now. I will pull out a card from each of these. And over time, what is interesting was that I realized that I actually was getting a cohesive message. It was not 5 oracles telling me 5 different things. I was getting a cohesive message. It didn't matter what deck I used. I have used the Wild and Sacred Feminine deck in the past. I have heavily used Into the Lonely Woods by Lucy Cavendish and Dan May. I have also used another Lucy Cavendish deck, which was the Solitary Witch, if I'm not wrong. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I have used the Enchanted Earth Oracle by Jessica LaHood and art by Amanda Clark. And I have also very heavily used the Lantern Oracle. So as you can see, the oracles go every which way. Like, the Lantern Oracle is a shadow work deck. The Wild and Feminine Oracle is a goddess and a feminine focus deck. Enchanted Earth is a very animal deck. And Into the Lonely Woods is all about the internal processing of emotions that sometimes we cannot vocalize. So it doesn't matter what deck you have. You don't have to get the decks I showed you. Just pick a bunch of decks and give it a shot. And if you find that something resonates across each card, that is where, for me, the magical feeling of tarot lies. When different decks affirm the same thing over and over again, it just makes my body tingle. It gives me tingly feelings because I'm like, oh, okay, maybe there is something out there. Shit. So, yeah, I hope that this little ramble, very disorganized and completely unscripted, helps you not feel the pressure of having a daily practice or a very rigid, regimented practice, and doesn't try, and it sort of gives you an idea that you don't need to box yourself in. You can use your cards and play with them in whatever way you like. And sometimes you might just land on something that is beautiful and will stick. So that's all from me today, guys. Hope you have a lovely day. Bye.